Hi guys, it's Leslie Fightmaster with Fightmaster Yoga. Today's class is a 30-minute stretching class, and it's a great class to do first thing in the morning or right before you're going to bed. Also great to do after a workout. Actually, I'd say this class is pretty good to do any time of the day. So let's get started. Grab 2 blocks and a strap and a blanket if you like. So we're going to start sitting, and before I forget, I want to thank you so much for hitting that like button on our classes. It really helps us a lot, and I'm so glad to know that you're liking the classes. So take a comfortable seat. We'll bring the hands together in front of your heart and take a moment here to set an intention for your practice. So if you're not sure what that is, all intentions are welcome. Just a way for you to connect into your practice today. If you have a yoga strap or even a towel of some sort, have it handy. You're going to come onto our back for Supta Padangusthasana. So take the strap or the towel onto the ball of the right foot, or you can hold onto the right leg, or you can take the toe or the foot. The left knee can be bent or straighten it out. If you straighten it out, it's going to be a little more intense feeling. Draw your right hip forward and straighten the knee if you can, and if you can't, you can't. So the leg doesn't have to be as far toward the belly as my leg is, and you can keep it away from your belly more. But just take a few long breaths as you start to stretch out the hamstrings. Notice if you're creating any tension any place, especially notice in the jaw and in the shoulders. Now bring your left hand on the top of your left hip and open your right leg to the right as you look over your left shoulder. So your left hip is going to want to pop up off the floor. So don't let it. Keep it down, and that might mean that you don't go quite as deeply into the stretch, which we know is fine because it never matters how deep we get into a stretch anyway, as long as we feel something. It's got to feel stretch, and we know it's working. Take a couple breaths here. Again, release any tension. Inhale the leg to center, switch hands with your strap, and then exhale, take it over to the left side as you twist. Now the left hip will still draw forward, but the right hip is off the floor. That's fine. Look over the right shoulder if that feels fine with your neck. And as you're moving in this twist, try to exhale and turn your belly up toward the ceiling a little bit. So you're trying to spiral that belly up. Take a couple breaths here. Twisting is good for many things. Great for digestion. Inhale, bring the leg to center. Exhale, lift the head and shoulders up and draw the leg in for a couple breaths, and then release it. So extend the right leg next to the left and just notice the difference. And then bend both knees, putting the strap on the ball of the left foot and keeping the right knee bent or extended out. Now draw your left hip forward toward the right foot. And again, you can take that strap any distance so that you get the stretch that works for you. Let the shoulders release away from the ears, again letting go of any tension, and just focus again on your breath. Try and keep your inhales and your exhales equal in length as you're here. Those right toes point straight up to the ceiling. So be sure that's happening. Now take your right hand onto the top of your right thigh, open the left leg to the left. So again, that right hip wants to pop up off the floor. Keep it grounded down and then move from that place of stability. So if we stabilize that right hip on the floor, then we can move into the flexibility from there, which makes it a safer stretch. Keep those right toes pointed up. Again, relaxing shoulders, relaxing jaw. Keep the breath nice and steady. And one more breath. Inhale the leg to center, switch hands with your strap, and then exhale, twist. Take the left leg over the right. Try and draw that left hip forward, As you're twisting, turn your belly up toward the ceiling. if you feel some tightness, I think that's just part of it. Just try and breathe through it. Do the best that you can. And remember, you don't have to go in really deeply. Just go in as deeply as what works for you. Just feel a stretch in the blood. It's moving in, toxins are moving out. Inhale the leg to center, exhale. Draw the knee and lift the head and shoulders and breathe. One more breath, one more stretch, and release the head and release the leg. Put the strap off to the side if you've got it there. And then extending forward, just lying with your fingertips on top of your shoulders. We're going to start to make little circles. So point the elbows up to the ceiling and start little circles, and they gradually will get bigger. So allow those circles to get just a little bit bigger, and then make them as big as you comfortably can. So we're just going to warm up our shoulders. So big circles now. Try to remember which direction you're going in, because in a moment we're going to switch directions. And then we'll point the elbows straight up to the ceiling and then start in the other way. Make little circles to begin, small ones, and then start to make them bigger and a little bit bigger. And then start to make them as big as you comfortably can. You can go slow or you can go fast. Whatever feels right for you. Remember to check in with your breathing. Make sure that's still happening consistently. Then inhale, reach the arms overhead and just stretch them out. Keep the ribs drawing in and the lower back from arching. Draw your right knee into your chest. Then hold on behind the thigh, keeping the knee bent. Draw the thigh in toward the belly, and then resist the right leg away from you as if you're trying to straighten your knee, but you're holding it in with your arms so you won't let it straighten. Make sure your left toes point up to the ceiling. So kind of a little bit of a tug of war with yourself, keeping the thigh toward the belly and then reaching that right foot away from you as if you're trying to straighten the right knee. Take another breath here. Again, it's harder to release tension, but release any tension you don't need. And then release the left leg, interlace the fingers, hold on behind the left thigh, draw the left thigh in toward the belly. And again, the knee's going to be bent, but as you're drawing the leg in toward the belly, reach the foot away. So creating that resistance. It's almost like you're in an upside down lunge. Make sure to keep some softness in the shoulders and the jaw, and breathing. Always, always checking in with your breath. I like this little fun stretch, and then release it. Bending both knees, roll over to your right side. Just pause a moment and then press your left hand into the ground so you can make your way up, crossing at the shins. And some of you might want to sit up on a blanket or a block so that your knees are lower than your hips. That way it helps to lengthen your spine a little bit more. So just cross with your shins, sit up nice and tall, and now take your right ear to your right shoulder. Lift your right hand and rest it on top of your head, not pulling, just resting, and then extend the left arm out, flexing the left wrist. So you get a big stretch all the way down the left side of the neck. You might even feel it all the way down the arm through the fingertips. So breathing here, make sure your right shoulder releases. Another breath, and then bring the head to center. Inhale, exhale, left ear to left shoulder. Take the left hand rested on the head, not pulling, just resting. Right arm out to the right, flex the wrist. So now you can feel that stretch on the right side of the neck. So we'll try to give our neck a little bit of love. I don't know about you guys, but I find myself on my phone looking at it a lot, or my computer looking at it a lot. So my neck needs a little love. Come back to center. Bring your fingertips in front of you. Inhale, lengthen through the spine. You can stay, or exhale, walk yourself forward any amount, stretching out the hips and the lower back. So again, you don't have to go far, whatever works best. And then we'll walk it on up. And I'm going to move the block out of the way. You don't have to. And switch the cross of the leg so the other shin is in front. Sit up tall again. Now, right ear to right shoulder, and then look up toward the ceiling. So let your head go back, let your shoulders relax, and then left ear toward left shoulder. Make sure you're sitting up really tall. Lift your chest while you do this. Then again, look up, and exhale, right ear toward the right shoulder. Inhale, and bring it back to center, looking up, shoulders release. And then left ear toward left shoulder, still kind of looking up. Inhale, center. If you have any pain in the neck, you're not going to want to do that one. And then bring the hands forward, inhale, and walk yourself forward, exhale. So as always, stretching, the feeling of stretching in the body is fine. But if you feel any sharp pain, just stop what you're doing immediately. That means that your body's saying stop. Come on up, and we'll make our way into table. Hands and knees, wrists under shoulders, and knees under the hips. Then take your right arm out to the right, inhale, exhale, sweep it underneath your left arm. Pull the left hip back so your hips are level. So you can take that left arm and wrap it around, holding the right leg, or hold the back of the low back, or you can keep the fingertips on the floor. Another option, extending the left leg back, toes tucking under. Some of you might even lift that left leg off the floor, but do what's best for the stretch. So I'm going to get into the shoulders a little bit and into the upper back. Try and keep your hips level. And then come on through center on your inhale. Back to table. Then left arm, reach it out to the left, stretch it out. Exhale, sweep it under the right arm. Come on to the left shoulder. This time, pull your right hip back a little so your hips are level. So that left hand, you can keep fingertips on the floor, you can keep it at the low back, or reach around and grab your left leg. An option to extend the right leg out, tucking the toes under. So I'm rolling my top shoulder back, so as if my shoulder blades are moving in closer toward each other and my chest is widening. Collarbones are widening away from each other. So I'm getting that stretch. And then if you want to lift that right leg off, it's fine. Just know, lift it from the inner thigh, drop the outer hip down, or else you'll just roll onto your back, which kind of takes you by surprise. Let's come back to center. Come on up. And now child's pose. Keep the arms extended in front as you take your hips all the way back toward the heels. Spread the fingers wide. Now come back up. Walk your hands forward. Keep your hips above your knees and take your chest toward the floor. This is Anahatasana. It's a chest opening. Keep your belly pulling in. And then come out of it. Inhale. Turn your inner elbows slightly forward as you stretch into it again. So your triceps are spinning down, the biceps are spinning up. And then shoulders draw toward the waist. Inhale, come on up out of it. One more time, exhale, sink back into it. Keep your belly lifted. So every time you sink in, you might get in a little bit deeper. You might not. Totally see how it feels for you. Inhale, come on up. Walk your hands closer, but keep your wrists in front of the shoulders. Triceps back. Tuck your toes for downward facing dog. And then bicycle your legs, bending one knee and the other. Arms are shoulders distance apart, the feet hips width. Spread the fingers nice and wide. So as you press, keep the weight pressing up to the hips and reach it down toward the heels. Lengthen out through your spine as much as you can comfortably. But turn the outer upper arms, the triceps back toward the feet. Inhale, right foot steps by the right hand, left knee down. Pad up your left knee if it needs any padding. Fingertips on the floor, or you can put them on blocks. Let's tuck the back toes under today. Now exhale, straighten the right leg and fold forward, pulling the right hip back as you do. Inhale, bend the knee over the ankle. Sink the hips forward, still pulling the right hip back. Take a breath here. And then exhale again, straighten the leg, pull the toes back, fold over your straight right leg. Feel free to slide all the way out into splits if that's in your practice. Otherwise, let's bend the knee again. Bring the hands on the inside of the right foot this time. Lengthen, inhale. You can stay right where you are with the hands on the floor, or you can put your hands on a block, or you could take your block and put your forearms on the block. whatever works. Now, if your right knee goes out to the right, be sure to turn your toes in the same direction. So you want to keep the knees and toes in line to keep those knees safe. Okay, breathing here, the right hip's gently pulling back, belly's lifted, and then come on up. Tuck the toes under and make your way into plank pose, top of a push-up. Take the knees to the floor or not. Shift forward about an inch lower all the way down to the belly, exhaling. Interlace your fingers at your low back. Inhale, Shalabhasana. Peel the chest up. Lift the legs from the inner thighs. Lift the shoulder heads. Pull the belly away from the floor. Reach the tailbone toward your heels and keep the back of your neck long. Release. Hands by low ribs. Press up to plank. Knees up or down, and then downward dog. Inhale, left leg lifts from the inner thigh. We'll keep our hips level. Exhale, lightly step it up by the left hand. Right knee comes down. Pad up that right knee if it needs any padding. And we'll tuck the back toes under. Keep the left hip drawing back gently. Hands on blocks or bricks if you like. And then exhale, start to straighten that front leg. Pull the hip back. Flex the ankle. Inhale, bend the knee. Sinking forward again, pull the left hip back. And then exhale, start to straighten it again, fold over that leg. If you want to slide out toward a full split, you're more than welcome to. And then rebending that knee. So if this is your tighter side, we're going to do this one again. If it's not your tighter side, switch legs and do that tighter side one more time. So straightening it one more time. This was my tighter side. I did a little extra on this side. Then bring the hands to the inside of the left foot, knee over ankle. Inhale, lengthen through the spine. Exhale, stay. Or again, hands on blocks, forearms on the block, or even forearms on the floor. If that works for you. Depends on how deeply you would like to get into that stretch today. Some of the knee, if it goes out to the side a little, let the toes go out to the side. It doesn't have to. You can gently draw that left knee in toward the left shoulder to keep it pointing straight ahead. That's fine too. See what feels better for you. Come on up and step back into plank pose. Exhale, chaturanga to the floor, knees up or down. Interlace with the other pinky on top if you can remember. Pull the belly in, inhale, Shalabhasana variation. So reaching the knuckles toward the heels, inner thighs are lifting up. Hip bones are lifting up toward the lower ribs to lengthen through the lower back. Release, hands by low ribs. Press all the toenails into the floor for cobra. And then either stay with it or take up dog. Long breath in, tuck the toes, exhale, downward facing dog, all the way back. Feel free to take the knees down and rest if you wish. You always push the pause button, come back when you're ready. Otherwise, inhale to plank, exhale down to the belly. We're going to do a little more shoulder stretching. So bring your arms out to a T shape. And then roll onto your right side, taking your left foot flat on the floor so your left knee points up. Take your left hand behind your back and see if you can find your right hand back there, interlacing the fingers. You don't have to, but see if you can find it. Then maybe bend your right knee as well, putting the right foot onto the floor so both knees are pointing up to the ceiling. They don't have to. This is a pretty intense stretch for the shoulder, so pay attention, do what works best for you. Okay, and then unwind back to center, arms at a T again. I'm all dirty from the ground. Roll to the left. Take your right foot flat onto the floor. So see how I can take my right hand behind, find my left arm, and then slide it down to find the hand. And then my right foot can come to the floor or not. It's a little easier to keep the right leg straight. So shoulder blades are drawing in toward one another again. Collarbones are widening apart. A couple more breaths. You can let your head rest down if that feels better. One more breath. Or two. Okay, 3 breaths and then release. Come back to center. Bring the hands underneath the shoulders by the low ribs. Inhale, press into upward dog or cobra pose. Exhale, tuck the toes, lift the hips, downward facing dog pose. Take your feet about as wide as the mat, and we're coming into malasana, a squat. So I point my toes out because my knees and toes have to go in the same direction. You might be able to do this with your toes pointed straight ahead. Just different flexibility. So I'm going to take a little twist. Right hand to the floor, left arm up, or wrap your right arm around your right leg and take your left hand and clasp behind you. Again, roll the shoulder back, widen across the collarbones. Then back to center, hands to heart. Now we'll take the left hand to the floor, right arm up. You can stay with this stretch open or take your right hand behind you, wrap the left leg with the arm and clasp. Roll the right shoulder back. So same thing, we're widening the collarbones again. We're doing lots of shoulders and hips today. Let's bring the hands to center. And then to the knees. Take a block if you have it, and sitting back on the block in Virasana. Now, if you don't have a block, you can sit on your heels, or you can sit your buns right on the floor. Then hands behind you, lift your hips up off the floor. So you're going to stretch out the whole front of the legs. Let your head go back any amount and breathe. Tailbones reaching towards the backs of your knees. Then come on down for a moment. I'm going to take a breath and we'll do the same thing, or you can go in a little bit deeper if you want to. So hands on the floor, or some of you might take your forearms down and do the same thing. So as you lift up off that block, lift your hip bones towards your lower rib cage and then let your head go back any amount. Spiral the thighs in like you're holding a block between your inner thighs. Big front body stretch. And then come on back up and off the block. And put the block off to the side, have it handy or keep it handy. Take your feet hips width apart for bridge pose. Come on up. I'm doing supported bridge today. I've got my block right at the base of the spine. I love supported bridge. You're welcome to join me with that, or if you want to do regular bridge, you could also do a regular bridge. But make sure you spiral your thighs in toward each other. Make sure your toes point gently in toward one another. Don't let the toes turn out. Keep the chin away from the chest. Oh, and breathe. Always, always breathing. Don't ever stop that. Wouldn't be good. And then if you've got your block there, you can keep it. Just put it on the medium height or the lowest, and then lift the legs for Viparita Karana variation. Or if you don't have a block, you can just lift your legs up right to where you are. Or if you have a wall close, you could put your legs up the wall. Lots of choices today. It's good to go in this opposite direction for the legs, going against gravity a little bit. And then bend the knees. We'll take the feet back to the floor, lift off the block. Come on down and hug your knees into your chest. Gently rock side to side. Give your low back a little massage. Then start to rock back and forth. Take 2 or 3 rocks and come up to seated. And then sitting up nice and tall, have a strap handy if you like. Inhale, lengthen, reaching for the feet or using your strap. Keep your spine nice and long and exhale to extend. So pull the toes back, flexing the ankles, and hinge forward from your hips so that you're minimizing the roundedness of the back. Breathing. And just a couple more breaths, stretching out those hamstrings some more, the lower back. Keep your gaze a little bit forward, just slightly so your head doesn't drop. Inhale, lift the head, exhale, and release. Now bend your right knee, right hand behind, inhale, left arm up, and exhale, take it across and twist. As you inhale, sit up nice and tall, lengthen. As you exhale, roll your right shoulder back and twist. Keep those left toes pointed right up to the ceiling. Pull the left toes back so the left ankle is flexing. And head to center and unwind. Straighten the right leg, bend the left, bring the left hand behind you. Inhale, right arm up, exhale, and take it across to twist. So again, inhale to sit up nice and tall, and as you exhale, twisting in maybe a little deeper, roll the right shoulder back. Hips stay level. The twist comes from above the waist. Head to center, inhale, unwind, exhale, and we'll make our way onto our backs. With blocks close if you have them, soles of feet together, knees apart for Supta Baddha Konasana. Supta is lying down, Baddha Konasana bound angle. So this is going to be the Shavasana today, and you're welcome to join me in the Shavasana. And if it's not for you, then take your traditional one with the legs extended. But we'll be quiet for a couple of minutes, so let everything relax, release any thought of breathing, just natural breathing, quiet mind and quiet body. Shavasana. Start to make some movements to stretch out. Our quote today comes from Sri K. Pattabhi Jois, who brought us the wonderful Ashtanga practice. He said, "Do your practice and all is coming." Do your practice and all is coming. Roll off to your right side. Press yourself up to seated. Sit up nice and tall. Let's bring our hands together. Palms touch in Anjali Mudra. Then hands to the forehead to remind us to have clear and loving thoughts. And our hands to the heart center, reminding us to have clear and loving intentions. And our hands to the mouth, reminding us to have clear and loving communication, sending out positive energy to all beings everywhere. Namaste. Thank you so much. I did a Ashtanga quote today because it's super exciting. Our journey to beginning Ashtanga is out today. It's the first day that it is available. There's a link below if you would like to receive a coupon for 50% off for Fight Master Yoga folks. You can click that and then I'll email you a coupon. And I want to thank you so much for being such a wonderful part of my life. You guys are the best, best, best. Have a great day. Bye.